Hello everybody. Before I get into detail of why marijuana should be legal for medicinal and recreational use, I wanted to share with you about the history of marijuana and why it was illegal in the first place. Now, marijuana is a plant that comes from Asia. It's been used for thousands of years, and the cousin of marijuana, hemp, was a common plant people who would farm in the United States. Actually, in fact, our first president, George Washington, had hemp plants on his farm. The plant marijuana was introduced in the United States in 1850s. Soon after, laws were created to regulate its use. In 1906, the Pure Food and Drug Act was passed, which required all states to label as drugs. Some states even require marijuana to be labeled as a poison because of their alleged suicide attempts while being under the influence of marijuana. After the Mexican Revolution in 1910, many Mexicans sought refugees in the United States. Many used marijuana as a recreational drugs and recreational use, but mostly for recreational use to relax after work. Some historians argued that the passage of the intense marijuana regulations at the time was an act of racism, as fear and prejudice about the Mexicans newcomers being linked to marijuana. In 1930, the Federal Bureau of Narcotics was created and headed by a man named Harry J. Anslinger. Now, Harry J. Anslinger argued that the marijuana causes temporary insanity, and he has created a propaganda movie called Reefer Madness. I think that's what it's called, Reefer Madness, which showed young people consuming marijuana and acting very recklessly. There also were some speculations that two of the financiers of the project, called the DuPont Company and the Hearst Company, had a special interest in trying to outlaw marijuana. Now both of the companies had business in the industrial fiber industry and were in competition with the hemp farms all around the country in the United States. They saw this as an opportunity to make marijuana and its non-narcotic cousin, hemp, illegal. Then in 1937, with the help of Anslinger, the DuPont, and Hearst companies, the U.S. passed the Marijuana Tax Act, which made possession and transfer of marijuana illegal in the United States. Now, the reason why marijuana should be legal is because it has many health benefits, and there are no official records of anybody overdosing on marijuana. Now, an individual has to smoke at least 680 kilograms of marijuana in 15 minutes in order to have a lethal response. Now, just because you're in a lethal response still doesn't mean death. It just means that you're heavily intoxicated lethally. Now, marijuana has many health benefits. It can help depression because it lets people feel more euphoric. It can help HIV patients because of making them more hungry, because HIV, people who are under or who has HIV, they don't eat a lot, but since marijuana gives you the munchies, it can aid a lot of HIV patients with more food intake. And this is another biggest part, that it slows cancer cell growth rates. Yes, it actually slows cancer cell growth rates. That is a big part of marijuana. That is where marijuana shines in the medicinal field. And now the government can tax these if it's made legal. Imagine how many individuals will buy marijuana if it's legal. Well, obviously, they should either be prescribed, or for recreational use, it should be 18 years older. They should treat it as tobacco. And for people who are driving under the influence, lawmakers should make it that you cannot drive under marijuana or under the influence. Otherwise, you get a DUI, like treat it as alcohol. Although back in the day, a lot of individuals think that marijuana can, make people have suicidal thoughts. However, I think that's the opposite. The reason why is because marijuana makes you euphoric, and euphoric can help people with depression. Euphoria is the reason why people take this as a recreational use in the first place. But since it gives euphoria, I don't believe that it can give suicidal. I can give you the opposite. It can make people, listen to music more, or enjoy life more, or people just act nicer just under the influence of marijuana. However, this still doesn't necessarily mean that you should go crazy and smoke it and drive at the same time. They should be treated as a DUI. It should be treated as alcohol driving under the influence, It can also be treated as tobacco for sales, or prescription for medicinal use, And that's what I think about why marijuana should be legal. And I hope you guys think the same way too. Thank you.